Hello and welcome to a new topic. Today we're going to be starting topic five, which deals with European exploration and conquest and connecting of the entire world. So, new global connections. The one thing that makes this topic different from others is that for the first time, we're now linking two hemispheres of the planet together. The Eastern Hemisphere, Asia, Europe, Africa, had always been interacting with each other to some degree, but the Americas had not been in that mix. And so this is what we're looking at with topic five and the significance of this collision between worlds. Okay. So what we're looking at with lesson one is why Europeans began this process of exploration, looking for different things around the world and creating the world that we have today. All right, so Europeans have always had a desire to have a connection with Asia in particular. There were luxury goods that they wanted from Asia, particularly spices, but also silks, and they only come from certain places in Southeast Asia. So that meant that they were dependent upon merchants to get them to a middleman. There's a lot of reasons why Europeans began to become a little bit more active with exploration. The Crusades definitely exposed people to another culture and access to the things that this culture used. So luxury goods became something that people wanted. The Mongol Empire that we talked about earlier served as a linkage between China and Europe. The Mongols encouraged trade and wanted trade, and so there was a lot of flow back and forth for that reason. The Black Death also did a lot to disrupt trade, and but then once it started to revive, things began to be reconnected, and the survivors definitely wanted to have a better life. There was more money, standards of living increased, and so consequently trade picked up as well. The one thing that they wanted to do was to cut out the middlemen. If you weren't Italian, if you weren't Muslim or Turkish, you really weren't involved with this trade, and so they you cut out the middleman, you can get the goods a lot cheaper. There are a lot of things that motivated people to explore. It's really summed up very easily with the three G's: God, gold, and glory. They had a religious desire to spread their message of Christianity around the world. They definitely wanted to get rich, and they wanted to make a name for themselves and for their nation. So it was a mixture of motivations. Usually, all of them were present, although not all of them were equally important to people. Another thing that made this possible were improvements in technology, map making, using instruments like the sextants and the astrolabes to either chart the sun or the stars to figure where they were when they were sailing, the compass, and then of course the caravel, which is a very seaworthy vessel that could hold a lot of cargo and did not have a deep draft. So it enabled people to get more goods there and back faster. The leaders in this movement were the Portuguese. They're kind of situated on the very edge of Spain. They really are kind of locked in, and so the only place that they could go if they wanted to expand and to grow is to the sea. So they began to explore around Africa to try to find a route there, largely spurred by the actions of one of the members of the Portuguese royal family, Prince Henry, who's known as Prince Henry the Navigator because of the school that he opened to train navigators, to develop better charts, to develop better caravels, and his efforts and his support for this is one of the reasons why the Portuguese were able to finally explore the African coastline and eventually sail around Africa and reach India. So Diaz is the first to actually make it to the very southern tip of Africa, founded the Cape of Good Hope, and Vasco da Gama, he was responsible for making it to India in 1497. The Spanish were competitors with the Portuguese. They saw that the Portuguese were getting rich. They wanted a little piece of the action. So when Columbus proposed a way of bypassing Africa by sailing westward to get to Asia, they were all for it. Um, Columbus didn't discover Asia, but he did discover the islands of the Bahamas. So he's given credit for discovering America, even though there were millions of people already here. Um, this competition between Spain and Portugal uh, eventually caused the Pope to have to step in because they were on the verge of going to war. And at the height of arrogance, they split the whole world between them. The Treaty of Tordesillas created a line of demarcation, which basically said that the Eastern Hemisphere with Africa and Asia was Portuguese territory, and the Western Hemisphere, the Americas, was Spanish territory. That was the way that they were able to stop them from fighting. Now, over time, other European powers began to become involved with that. So this didn't hold up for much longer past that, but they did split this world up. Um, they were looking for alternative routes. So, Columbus was sailing westward. So maybe there's another way that we can, from the Americas, get to Asia very easily. So they're trying to find a Northwest Passage over the northern part of North America through Asia, which is kind of impossible at that time period because it was usually frozen over for most of the year. They did discover the Pacific after they passed over Panama, which is a narrow isthmus that is at the southern point of the American continent before it joins South America. And a Portuguese explorer by the name of Magellan actually was able to circumnavigate the globe, over a 3-year period of time. Even though he died in the Philippines, they did sail completely around the world. Mainly they were looking to see where Spanish territory ended, Portuguese territory began. He was Portuguese, but he's sailing for Spain. So that was the main purpose of the trip. And by the 1600s, Spain and Portugal were definitely, in competition with other European powers. So they were starting to explore into Asia and into the Americas, and definitely gave the Spanish and Portuguese a run for their money. So that concludes lesson 1. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you again for lesson 2. Thank you.